I've just spent probably 2 hours cleaning these wheels. Absolutely filthy. These 17-year-olds, they don't know how to change engine oil, but boy did they use some chain lube. It was probably 4mm thick with chain lube all around the rear wheel. As well as being minging, the cush drives are knackered on this as well. It's been tightened up without the spacer and the sprocket carrier and crushed this bit which joins them together, so they've all fallen out. I think I'm just going to buy some new ones. They're not mega expensive. Mega Shed Diaries, 31st of January 26. I'm about to do the wheels for the GSX-S build. You'll see me chuntering about having to clean all of the chain lube off the ones that came with it. So they're as clean as I can get. I've got a front wheel that I bought a while ago that had no spacers or anything attached to it. I think it looked brand new. I think it's been straightened by Motorline or something, or it had a slight skew in it anyway. And then another wheel, rear one that I got off eBay, that the brake disc was knackered on. So I've ordered all of the parts. I've got to stop saying because I'm sick of having to edit it out. So I've got parts here from Biker's Bits, genuine Honda parts. So I've got a disc, bearings I bought separately, some bearings I've got. A lot of the wheels, the bearings in them are actually fine, but I really do want to need to change the oil seals on them so the captive spacers work. And I needed for the front wheel, I needed this spacer, it was missing. So I've got the spacer that goes between the bearings. Now I'm going to start off with everything with brand new bearings, brand new oil seals. I was thinking of painting the wheels and have a nice colour scheme on the new bike. I'm again a bit twitchy about how long it's going to take me to get things built, so I'm just going to get tyres on them, and later in the season I'll take it apart and I'll do the cosmetics. The frame is still away at the powder coaters. I told them I wasn't in too much of a hurry, but I'm getting a bit twitchy now. There's about 6 weeks to go before I need to take it for the first test. And I think he's doing it as a bit on the side job really. I'll be calling them again in the week. So I'm using a socket to drive these in with because it's easy to hold. But top tip, obviously you can use the old bearing to drive it to knock the new bearing in with, because it's exactly the same size. But if you're using a socket, you want one that's large enough to just push on the edge of there. That one's actually a little bit big. You want one that's just on the edge there, but smaller than the hole that it's going in. Moment of truth, I'm going to try my captive spacer in this. Ooh, a bit tight. Oh yeah, perfect. Just pull the wholesale out a bit there. Beautiful. Very happy. So this is the front wheel that was on it that I just cleaned the other night. I'm going to take the disc off, so yeah, take everything off it. I'm going to give the disc a wire brush and clean up, get the tyres on, and I'll put the discs on back on afterwards. Not having it. I don't want to go with the big guns. I'm going to just give it a try with ratchet first. Yeah, these have got thread lock on them. They tend to get a bit seized in. And I have stripped these. It's quite easy to strip the insides of these. I have got replacement bolts, but I'm just going to be careful with them. Yeah, this doesn't actually have a great deal of torque, so. Managed to get the brake disc off. I'm just going to give it a measure. It looks in fairly good condition. It says minimum thickness for 3.5 millimeters. Calipers say 3.9, so that's all right. Ooh, nasty. ABS ring, need to take that off. Crusty is out. Let's see if we can knock these bearings out. As I say, the bearings on all of these wheels seemed okay, but considering the condition the rest of the bike's in, I thought bearings are fairly cheap, and if I'm taking them apart, I might as well replace them. So they can go in the bin. We'll give this a little clean up with a wire brush and knock some more bearings in. So I've just knocked the last bearings out of the rear wheel, and that one put up a bit of a fight. Most of them have come out quite easily. But I'll just explain something. What the problem is, you've got this spacer that's sitting in between the two bearings in the wheel, and you've got that spacer there, but it's got a little bit of movement in it, and what you need to do, you have to push it to the side a little bit to get somewhere to hit on the inside of the bearing. And I was using my brass rod, and it was just too soft, and when you hit it, it was just sliding off the edge, because the edge, well, more like that, it was sliding to the inside and not getting it on there so well. So you need to, what I was doing, putting something down the center of that, a rod, and then pushing it sideways to put a twist on that to move that over as far as possible, to give you as much as you can to knock onto. And then also I switched from the brass, I switched to these steel punches so that they're not going to deform so much if you're just on the edge. And the one that is open to the elements more is usually corroded in and tighter more, so you really want to be trying to knock in the bearing that is sitting behind the sprocket carrier. In the past I have had bearings that have completely fallen apart and you don't have enough to knock onto, you can't get them out, and that's when I learned about using the MIG welder. When I did that once before, years ago, I took it to a place, and when the middle of that is knocked out, because it's, you know, if you're replacing the bearings because it's collapsed, you haven't got any bearings there, so all you've got is the ring. So what you can do, you get a MIG welder, put a bead of MIG around the inside of it, and then use that to drive it out. Just a tip. Here's the sprocket carrier, and there's this spacer in most bikes are like this. There's a bearing for the sprocket carrier in there, and then there's a spacer. These always fall out, and I bought a bike before, an SV650, that was missing, and it's meant to space between the two bearings there, and if it's missing and you tighten this down, tighten the wheel down onto there, it goes too far and it pushes into the rubbers and breaks the rubber in between. So I know at some point this has been like that. I think I might actually put a bit of thread lock on the inside of that shoulder, clean it out and put it in there so that try and prevent that from falling out, because it's quite easy for that to fall out, not notice and lose it. I'm just going to take the ABS ring. So obviously the ABS is useful on the road, but not so much on the track. So that has been removed and disabled on this bike. Everyone does, and replaced with steel braided lines. So that part that normally would tell the ECU if the wheel's slipping is surplus to requirement. So I've taken that off, and also this disc is quite bad. I don't actually use my rear brake at all though, so it'll do. Let's take it off and give it a clean up. Now this is for the sprocket carrier. I managed to pull the oil seal out, and I'm knocking the bearing out, and I'm just using this spacer turned round with a copper hammer to knock it out with. It's coming out quite easily. Nearly there. Just use a bit of brass rod now. Give that a little clean up. I've got bearings for that too. Job's a good one. So I've got that bearing in. As I say, this is a pain with this keep falling out. I can't do it like captive spacers with a lip on the end, but I'm just going to try putting a bit of Loctite in there to try and stop that from falling out. Idiot. We're in. Okay. Now I want it on the right hand side. Yeah. Make sure I get the direction correct. So this is the brake side, so this is the right side, direction that way, rotation this way, and then we find, is there a dot? It's usually a dot that you put next to the valve. No dot, so I will put the maker's mark next to it. Let's get a bit of lube. I've tried two types. There's this aerosol. I've never seen a tyre fitter using this. I always see the tyre fitters I go to using the paste and a brush. So I've got both, but someone gave me the aerosol one, so I'm using that. Easy peasy. Battery died there. 5:20. I want the second set of wheels, but I've yet to blow them up and seat them on the rims. Not really getting this hang of this. These are going to be my slicks. These are the nicest wheels. There's the dot that I'm talking about. Put that dot by the valve for balancing. Well, let's see if this will play ball and seat with no problem. I've had to switch to this gun because the way when you take the valve core out of here, I can put the valve cores in, but this type of connector doesn't work if it doesn't have the valve core pressing against it. It just blocks off, so I'll try with this, otherwise I'll put the valve core in. Oh, are you going to be like that, are you? Okay, you might have seen this one's fighting a bit. It's not come far enough out to make a seal here, so I'm currently fighting and rolling it around. Sometimes happens with the wets. First time I've tried to video this, and first time I've really had a problem with it. Let's come back to that one. Here we are. Let's do a slick. Slicks don't usually cause any trouble. Come on. Come on. Thank you. That's 3 done. I'm going to try something else with the other one that wouldn't go on. I'll get back to you. I'll put a ratchet strap around this, get some tension on it to try and push it and make a better seal. Last time I had this problem, I think I took it to Jono at Freetech, in the Freetech paddock, the guy who does the tyres, and he used this bigger compressor and a bit of swearing, and he managed to get it to seat. But let's try this. I've seen other people do this before. Let's see if it works. There we are. I can get the ratchet strap off. Oh, no. There we are. So, first time I tried that, and it works. And that process is taken, well, I've done 4 tyres, and it was 5 past when I started, so 55 minutes to fit 4 tyres. I should have done that in about half an hour, but I had trouble with getting the rear wet on. They still need to be balanced. I need to put the brake discs on and stuff. I'll probably do, well, I'm going to be doing the wheel balancing tomorrow. Might be in a separate video. I'll see how long this one is. Mega shed out.